Sweet oil, the fragrance of the gods. Purifying substances. In context, key figure Taputi Balatikalim, circa 1200 BCE. Before, circa 4000 BCE, people in the Tigris Valley make bell-shaped pots that may form part of a distillation apparatus. Circa 3000 BCE, a terracotta distillation apparatus in the Indus Valley is most likely to produce essential oils. Circa 2000 BCE, an enormous perfume-making factory operates in Cyprus. After, circa 9th century CE, Arab philosopher Al-Kindi's Book of the Chemistry of Perfume and Distillation sets out more than 100 recipes and methods. Circa 11th century, Persian polymath Ibn Sina invents a process for extracting oils from flowers by distillation to create more delicate perfumes. Distillation is a process for separating out liquids either from solids, as when extracting alcohol from fermented materials, or from a mixture of liquids with different boiling points, such as the separation of crude oil into its components, including butane and gasoline. Early technology. One of the first technological discoveries made by early humans was that tar could be distilled from the bark of birch trees. This natural adhesive was the key to making compound tools and was used to install stone blades into wooden handles for axes, spears, and hoes. Ancient beads of tar have been uncovered in Middle Paleolithic European sites that predate the arrival of modern Homo sapiens in Western Europe by about 150,000 years. These early distillers were Neanderthals, who most likely heated the bark in the embers of a fire to extract the tar. In more relatively recent times, people learned to use distillation to create perfumes. From the evidence of hieroglyphs, it is an art that stretches back at least 5,000 years to the priests of ancient Egypt, who used aromatic resins in their rituals. One of the first stages in the making of a perfume is to extract fragrant essential oils from plants, and the most common way to do this is by distillation. The still. In Mesopotamia, Western Asia, stills were being used as early as 3500 BCE for distilling and filtering liquids. At this time, they consisted of a double-rimmed clay vessel with a lid. Liquid was heated inside the container, and condensate, liquid formed by condensation, accumulated inside the lid, which was cooled with water. This condensate ran from the lid into a trough formed from the double rim of the vessel where it was collected. The processes used were highly inefficient, and often distillations had to be repeated several times to achieve the concentrations required. The first chemist. Clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform text dating to around 1200 BCE describe perfumeries in ancient Babylon, a city in southern Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, that employed an early form of distillation. A Babylonian perfume maker identified in the tablets as Taputi Balatikalim is the first chemist identified by name since records began. Balatikalim means overseer, and Taputi was the overseer of the royal perfumery. The tablets describe her treatise of perfume making, the first such ever recorded, and how she filtered and distilled perfumes for religious rituals and medicines, as well as for use in the royal household. Although the still greatly predates Taputi, the tablets provide the first written description of its use. Perfume makers such as Taputi also employed a range of other equipment, much of it adapted from domestic utensils. Examples include earthenware and stone pots and beakers, weights and measures, sieves, pestles and mortars, filtering cloths, furnaces capable of reaching a range of temperatures. Another surviving clay tablet describes the step-by-step process Taputi followed to produce an ointment for the royal household containing waters, flower oil, and calamus, possibly lemongrass. It details the refining of the ingredients in her still and is the oldest recorded reference to this technique. The ingredients were softened first with water and then with oil and boiled to release their essences, which were quickly condensed in the walls of the still. The concentrate collected could then be diluted in a mixture of water and alcohol, just as perfumes are today. Women perfumers developed the chemical techniques of distillation, extraction, and sublimation. Margaret Alec, Hypatia's Heritage, 1986. Distillation and sublimation. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Distillation is an effective way of separating a mixture of liquids that boil at different temperatures. The most volatile component vaporizes at the lowest temperature. The vapor is passed through a condenser where it cools to its liquid state and is collected as distillate. Adjusting the temperature enables different components to be separated. Another method of separation is sublimation. This is when a solid turns into a vapor without first becoming a liquid. A modern example would be frozen carbon dioxide or dry ice becoming a vapor at room temperature. Substances such as iodine, camphor, and naphthalene sublime when heated and can be recovered as a solid deposit or sublimate by cooling the vapor in a similar way to collecting a liquid distillate.